On his very first day in the city, this country boy ran into a tall, long-legged girl in a miniskirt. He was so captivated that he couldn't move his feet. Even after she walked away, he couldn't help but sigh in admiration, thinking, girls in the big city really are different. Later, the young man arrived at the boarding house he had arranged beforehand, only to find the yard empty. Just then, he suddenly heard a noise coming from inside the house. Unable to resist his curiosity, he went to check it out, and what he saw gave his heart another shock. The lively and provocative scene inside startled the young man so much that he fled in a panic. He waited until the people inside were finished before pretending he had just arrived. He introduced himself, saying his name was Park Yoon-jin, a freshman in college, and that he had contacted the landlord yesterday to rent a room here. By this time, the landlady had already tidied up her clothes. After coming out, she invited Yoon-jin inside and told her that all 3 meals a day were included, plus there would be some special delicacies as a treat. NJ was very pleased to hear this, even though she didn't know what exactly the landlady meant by special delicacies. But just the scenery in front of him made him not want to leave. It had to be said, the landlady had a great figure. Although she was already a woman of a certain age, she had a unique charm. After that, Yoon-ji went to her own room, tidied up a bit, and got ready to take a nap. She had just lain down when the tenant next door arrived. Through their conversation, she learned that he was a senior from the law department at the same university and had already been living here for 6 months. Yoon-ji took the opportunity to ask him for information, and only then did she find out that besides the 2 of them, there were no other tenants in the house. There was only the landlady and her daughter. Just as they were talking, a beautiful woman walked in through the front door, tall, long-legged with flowing hair. She was the landlady's daughter, Soo-yuan. Yoon-ji's eyes widened instantly. Wasn't this the hot girl she had bumped into that morning? Fate really is amazing. The senior could tell that Eunji was interested in Soo-yuan, so he immediately warned her not to get any ideas. He was pursuing Soo-yuan himself. Yoonji thought to herself, if you like Soo-yuan, why are you hanging around with her mom? It turned out that the senior who had been playing cards with the landlady that morning was this very same guy. But even though she thought this, Yoonji didn't say it out loud. Instead, she told the senior that she already had a girlfriend. Just then, Soo-yuan came out. She squatted in the yard to wash her face, giving the 2 boys quite a sight. They were practically drooling. That night, Yoonji looked at a photo of her girlfriend and thought back to the 2 of them. The 2 of them reminisced about their beautiful past, then drifted sweetly into sleep. In his dreams, all the scenes he had witnessed during the day kept stimulating him. Just as he didn't know what to do, the landlady suddenly pushed the door open, gently woke him up, and even put her hand on his leg. This left Enji, a newcomer and a bit of a greenhorn, at a loss. Feeling a bit embarrassed, he asked the landlady to leave first. When Enji was heading to school, the landlady suddenly ran after him, handed him breakfast, straightened his clothes, and even nagged him like a wife, telling him to drink less and come home early. This made Enji feel a bit strange. On the first day of school, Enji and his roommate were reading in the library when his roommate suddenly showed him something good, saying he would give it to him after the exams. To show his gratitude, Enji went to the landlady's place to buy instant noodles. But after looking at that racy book, he found it a bit hard to control himself. After the landlady reminded him, Enji looked embarrassed, but things were about to get even more awkward. He didn't have enough money with him, but the landlady generously offered to treat him. She even said that if he wanted something else, he could come over after lights out that night, and she'd give him a little treat to try. Those who get it, get it. Enji immediately became a bit absent-minded. His roommates all noticed something was off and thought it was because of that book of theirs, not realizing that Enji had actually run into some good fortune, and even secretly exchanged a glance with the landlady. After lights out that night, the landlady's words kept echoing in Enji's mind, and in the end, he turned back and went to her. The freshman Enji, who came from the countryside, ultimately couldn't resist the landlady's temptation. He arrived that night as promised, but the scene he saw dealt him a heavy blow. She had clearly promised to wait for him, so why did she secretly find someone else? And it was even his roommate. Enji was so upset that he broke down in tears. The next day, he went to complain to his senior and accidentally drank a bit too much. Before he could even get into his room, he fell asleep right at the door. When Soo-yuan came back and saw him, he woke him up and helped him into the room. Seeing how handsome Enji was, Soo-yuan took the initiative to help him change clothes and undo his belt. But Enji said he had sobered up and could do it himself. Soo-yuan immediately lost interest, said goodnight, and left. However, instead of going to bed, he went to take a bath in the courtyard. This left both Enji and the senior completely baffled. Fortunately, Enji, he knew when to quit while he was ahead, but the senior wasn't so lucky. Early the next morning, Enji got up to brush his teeth and ran into Soo-yuan washing up in the courtyard again, which immediately made him uneasy. As soon as he returned to his room, the landlord came in again, this time to help him wash his underwear. Where else could you find such a great landlord? Enji was simply overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. He then panicked and ran off. In the middle of the night, Enji felt parched, so he got up to the kitchen to get some water. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly heard some noises coming from inside a room. Enji secretly peeked through the crack in the door and saw that the landlady, unable to contain her desire, was comforting herself. That night, Enji had an indescribable dream. The next day, when Enji was heading to school, Su Yuan suddenly ran out, grabbed him, and said she wanted to go to school with him. Enji felt a bit guilty since he had just dreamed about her the night before. Su Yuan said that she actually wanted to go to college too, but her mother made her study at a beauty salon, so she had to give up on her dream. She also said that her mother had it tough as well. After that, the two of them went shopping at the mall. When Su Yuan saw a hair clip she liked, Enji generously bought it for her. Later, Su Yuan said she wanted to go to a nightclub, and Enji had no choice but to accompany her, risking it all for her sake. The two of them even bought a cake to celebrate their first time going to a nightclub. On the way home, Enji spotted a familiar figure from afar. It was his girlfriend, Sun Yu, who had come looking for him. When Su Yuan saw this, she looked annoyed and went home. The landlord was also visibly displeased, but he couldn't find a reason to lash out, so he could only watch helplessly as the two walked back to their room. After being apart for so long, the young couple immediately embraced each other. Just as they sat down, the landlord suddenly pushed the door open and came in. Without saying a word, he started folding Enji's clothes, leaving Sun Yu completely confused. At that moment, the landlord suddenly said, "You must be Sun Yu, right?" A girl from the countryside sharing a room with a man, how inappropriate. Then, without giving her a chance to object, she dragged Sun Yu away to sleep with her. That night, after the landlady fell asleep, Sun Yu quietly slipped into Enji's room, where Enji was clearly already waiting for her. The two closed the door and became lost in each other's affection. Su Yuan, who was standing outside the door, heard the sounds coming from the room and was absolutely furious. At that moment, the senior suddenly appeared, pulled Su Yuan close, and kissed her. Su Yuan struggled to break free, but the senior said, "You like him, don't you? If you submit to me, I'll help you get rid of that village girl." Su Yuan gave in and stopped resisting. From a distance, the landlord saw everything clearly. The next day, Enji had to go to class. The senior suddenly suggested taking Sun Yu around, since it's not easy to come to Seoul. Sun Yu firmly refused. At this moment, Su Yuan suddenly spoke up, saying, "If you feel awkward, I can go with you." Sun Yu said it wasn't necessary, but in the end, unable to withstand the senior's enthusiasm, she still went with him. Everything in the city was new to Sun Yu, but as expected, the senior had ulterior motives. He took Sun Yu to a park, and when he saw that no one was around, he started getting handsy. He pulled Sun Yu into his arms, saying that since he had accompanied her shopping all day, she should repay him in this way. She had never seen anyone so shameless before. Fortunately, Sun Yu was not the kind of girl who could be easily bullied. She kicked him right where it hurt. By the time Enji rushed to the station after school, Sun Yu had already left by bus, so he could only return home dejectedly. The boy was writing a report. The landlady suddenly pushed the door open and came in, bringing a plate of fruit. She told him to eat more fruit, and as she spoke, she picked up a piece and held it to the boy's mouth. The boy really couldn't refuse, even if he wanted to. After finishing his homework, Enji was just about to get some sleep when he heard the landlady calling him. She said she had forgotten her towel, so Enji had no choice but to bring it to her. The landlady actually asked him to help wipe her body, and as he was wiping, things got out of hand. Neither of them could restrain themselves. This time, the landlady finally had Enji completely, and at this moment, Enji truly became an adult. That evening, the landlady made a big meal to reward Enji, and even thoughtfully picked out dishes for him. While these two were deeply affectionate, sparks were also flying between the other pair. The senior reminded Su Yuan to fulfill his original promise. Since he helped get rid of the village girl, Su Yuan had to spend 2 nights with him. He also said that if Su Yuan went back now, he would only ruin his mother's good thing. But Su Yuan didn't believe his nonsense, only to be proven wrong in an instant. As soon as he walked into the yard, he heard a heartbreaking sound. Just like that, his mother took away the person he liked. Seeing his mother dressing up, the unwilling Su Yuan couldn't help but say, "Stop being with him. It's disgusting." The senior moved out, and soon a new tenant arrived. The new tenant, also a male student, was warmly welcomed by the landlady and her daughter. That evening, they even prepared a lavish meal to greet the new resident, showing great care and concern for him during dinner. This made Yoon-ki feel even more disappointed. After all, these privileges used to belong to him. This inevitably made Yoon-ki feel jealous. That night, Su Yuan pulled the same trick again, taking a shower in the yard dressed scantily, while the new tenant next door watched with great interest. Seeing this scene, Yoon-ki was instantly filled with rage and told Su Yuan to stop flaunting herself here. But Su Yuan told him to mind his own business. Yoon-ki was immediately provoked, and his possessiveness took over. He kissed her. After breaking free, Su Yuan slapped Yoon-ki, and Yoon-ki struck back in return. At that moment, the new tenant came over to play the hero and save the damsel. Seeing how tall and imposing the newcomer was, Yoon-ki immediately backed down, claiming he was drunk. Watching the new tenant leave with Su Yuan, a single tear slid down the corner of Unki's eye. He originally wanted to find his senior brother to drink away his sorrows, but as luck would have it, Su Yuan and the new tenant were there too. Yunqi walked over, and hearing the two of them teasing about his girlfriend Sun Yu, he finally couldn't take it anymore. He really couldn't understand why Su Yuan was treating him this way. With nowhere else to vent his feelings, he could only go back to the landlady to seek comfort. Just then, the sound of a man shouting angrily suddenly came from outside the door. The landlady hurriedly straightened her clothes and went out. As for Unki, he hid inside the wardrobe. The man barged in demanding money. When he didn't get it, he tried to take it by force, and even hit and cursed at the landlady. When Su Yuan came back and tried to protect his mother, he was beaten by the man as well. Yunqi, hiding in the wardrobe, wanted to come out and protect the mother and daughter, but realized he was too weak. It wasn't until the man left that Yunqi came out of the wardrobe. The landlady told Yunqi that the man was her ex-husband. After racking up gambling debts, he abandoned her and her daughter, and now he just shows up demanding money. She herself could bear it, but it was hard on Su Yuan. She also said that Su Yuan really liked him and hoped Yunqi could stay and not leave. However, early the next morning, Yunqi went to the landlady's room, whispered "thank you" in her ear, tucked her in, and then left. When he returned to the countryside, his girlfriend Sun Yu was waiting for him at the station. The two of them hugged each other tightly. The city is full of tricks, but the countryside is still the best.